So this game is called What's That Like? And it's one of my absolute favorite games. I always have some beautiful insight or revelation of some kind when I play this game. Um, Now, What's That Like is an interesting one. It's my go-to in a beginner night teaching circling. And if I have one game to teach before I go into circles, this is my go-to game. And I think part of the reason for that is that it's really the practice of understanding someone's qualitative experience rather than gathering data, right? So we explore like, the quality of their experience rather than, oh, I'm sad, there's this thing going on, my cousin's in the hospital, and it's like, instead of being like, which hospital, what happened, gathering the data, it's like, what's it like for you to be going through this, right? Which is very circling, it's very in the moment, it can be very here and now. And it also, it just leaves room, it's so simple, right? It leaves room for us to like go right down into the heart of things. I think another reason I like this is because it's infectious. Once people play this game, it's easily transferred into the circle. So I'm just gonna give you a kind of a demo of how I introduce this, and then I'll show you a demo of what it can actually look like. So go ahead and, in the room here, go ahead and close your eyes. And what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to imagine a flower. And when that flower is clear in your mind, go ahead and open your eyes so that I know you're ready. And then I'll say something like, Lindsay, what's your flower look like? Sophia, what's your flower look like? John, what does your flower look like? And they'll say, it's a white rose with thorns, or it's a daffodil, or it's a lilac, or it's a sunflower with a purple stem. People, have all these different images. And some people are like, oh, mine was also a daffodil, right? So we have this shared sense of like, oh, huh. Some people had a similar flower and most people had a different flower. Like, huh, interesting. Now, I said a word, and we all know what that word, and we all know what a flower is, yet each person had a different flower. They had a different experience of that word. Something different was evoked. So if we translate this to a circling context, it's like, hey, like, what's up for you? What's on top for you? People are like, oh, I'm sad. And normally what we do is we go, sad, okay, let me check. Yep, I've had that emotion before. I must know what that's like. And then often curiosity can move elsewhere. But here, I actually like to invite people to actually consider like, oh, sad. I know what sad is like for me, but I don't know what sad is like for you. And so that's what we're gonna do with this game, is like actually kind of wake up to the wonder and the actualization that we don't actually know what it's like for someone else to be experiencing something, and the journey can be really rich. And the quality I would invite in here, there's a movie comes to mind. It's called City of Angels, starring Nicolas Cage, and he's an angel, and he can't experience taste or touch or pain or cold. And he falls in love with a human woman, and he like visits her in his corporeal form, and she's eating a pear, and he was like, wow, like, what's that like? And she's like, you don't know what it's like to eat a pear? He's like, I don't know what it's like for you. It's this like total wonder in his face, because he really doesn't know. He's like completely opened. So with that same energy, I invite you into like actually opening to the fact that it's like, I actually have no idea what it's like for you to be eating a pear. I have no idea what it's like, this particular flavor of sad or joyous or paternal or fearful, right? So like, I really want to explore that. And there's a few options here. You can, when someone shares, you can simply say, oh, what's that like? Or you can sort of take some of their words, underline them. Oh, like this bit. What's that part like? Oh, they're like, oh, I feel like nervous and a little scared right now. And I'm kind of thinking about this thing I have to do later. And I might say, oh, nervous. What's that part like? And sometimes when in doubt, or if you kind of sometimes it can be like, leave the moment a little bit, or it can seem far abstracted. You can always be like, and what's it like to be telling you this now? Like, you can return to the moment. But what I ask you not to do is not to be like, what's it like to be a person with long hair? If they didn't say it, actually keep it to like what's here and now and what they said. Hey, Lindsay, what's on top?
I'm feeling really excited and just joyful right now.
I'm really excited. What's that like?
It's like a dog that's like wagging its tail that wants to run down the street and lick people in the face.
Oh my god. And what's it like to want to run down the street and lick people in the face?
Well, running down the street is like being a little kid.
What's that like?
It's this feeling of being completely uninhibited and just letting your body and your curiosity take you wherever you want to go.
And what's the uninhibited like?
Well, physically, there's this feeling of being very like expansive. Like the body feels very fluid and unrestrained. Like there's no sense of block, and there's a sense that you're being guided more intuitively and more like in a sensory way for me, rather than having this kind of mental construct of like, oh, this is what I should do.
What's that like?
Yeah, having more of the mental construct or sensing that I should do something. It feels like there's a disconnect between like my mind and the rest of my body. Like there's a sense of the mental idea of something and it's not congruent with the emotional or physical experience.
And what's it like to have that disconnect?
Feels like, I was gonna say disconnected. It feels like I'm severing myself in some way.
And what's it like to be like, describing this here and now?
I can feel my emotional experience changing as I'm switching to describing something that feels less comfortable. Like I feel less joyful now. I feel more, there's a little bit of kind of sadness in thinking about it.
What's it like to be so changed by, like emotionally by your words?
Yeah, it's like striking to me in this moment because it's just crazy how quickly the experience changed. Yeah.